What's going on, guys? It's Jimmy here with your second stimulus check update. And in this video, we're going to go over how Nancy Pelosi is taking some considerable heat and how they might be trying to do the negotiations without her regarding the negotiations for your second stimulus check. But first, if you haven't yet, click the subscribe button down below. It's completely free to do so. This way you won't miss out on second stimulus check updates, updates on the unemployment extension, and other related stimulus news. My wife and I do hours of research for you guys every single day, so we can bring you all the up-to-date information in a quick, concise video. And don't forget to smash the like button for us down below. It really helps out our channel. Also, from our family to yours, we're going to be giving out to some viewers up to $500, and I will give you all the details about that at the end of this video. So, within the last 48 hours, the White House and President Donald Trump has said that they are willing to sign a new stimulus package at somewhere around $1.3 trillion. This is up significantly by $200 to $300 billion that the Republicans were willing to do before that. In the last 48 hours or so, the White House and President Donald Trump have said that they are willing to sign a new stimulus package, which would include a $1,200 stimulus check to Americans at somewhere around $1.3 trillion. This is really good news for two reasons. Number one, the White House came up by $200 to $300 billion, which is 20 or 30% more than they were willing to do. The other reason is this signals that the Republicans don't want to do a smaller stimulus package, or what we were calling a skinny stimulus package, because the problem with those skinny stimulus packages is that they won't have enough money for a stimulus check, or probably even for unemployment extension money, unless those bills were passed completely by themselves and that was the only thing in the bill. A second stimulus check will cost about $300 to $400 billion. So this signals that the Republicans want to move forward with a larger stimulus package, which will include a stimulus check, and not some of the smaller stimulus packages that might not include a check because there wouldn't be enough money in that whole package unless the entire skinny package was just on a stimulus check, which might happen anyways before the election if the Republicans and the president get antsy enough to pass this before the election. As you can see here, after a conversation that led nowhere on Thursday between Speaker of the House Nancy Pelosi and White House Chief of Staff Mark Meadows, the White House appears to be the first waiver, indicating that an end to the stalemate on a second stimulus package may be near. The president right now is willing to sign something at $1.3 trillion. Mark Meadows told White House reporters on Friday, meaning President Donald Trump is open to signing a new virus relief bill or stimulus bill, but Nancy Pelosi, who's the leader of the House Democrats, who's quickly becoming the villain or the new villain. It used to be Mitch McConnell, aka Mitch Better Have My Money, from the Republicans. Nancy Pelosi would rather have nothing than Republicans' $1.3 trillion virus aid package. And man, I don't even know why she says these things, because if that's what she was feeling, why would she come out to the public and say that? Like, it's one of those things where, like, you might be thinking something, but you sure don't want to say it in public. Why would she say that she would rather have nothing when there's millions and millions of Americans that are being evicted or on the verge of it, that are starving, that are just literally needing money just for food and rent? And Nancy Pelosi has gone on record. This is the second time. The first time she said in an interview that I covered in a previous video, I showed the actual interview of her saying this. She says she doesn't want to pass a stimulus check or an unemployment extension on its own, because if she does, she would lose political leverage, or her negotiating leverage, for the other issues that are on her agenda, which is basically the money for states and cities, which the president has recently criticized that these states and cities that are on the verge of bankruptcy are almost all Democratic cities, and money for the post office, which the president is against. He said he's willing to do some money for the post office, but at first he was very against it. So it's basically Democrat versus Republicans. And when you see headlines like Nancy Pelosi would rather have nothing than a $1.3 trillion stimulus package, and then they can work on the other stuff after, is, for lack of a better word, crazy. Let us know your thoughts down below in the comments, but I feel like she's letting her political agenda that she needs money for states and cities. She doesn't need the money. She wants the money. She wants the money for states and cities, and she wants the money for the post office before the election. But in turn, she's holding everybody else hostage by not getting stimulus checks out to the people, not getting more unemployment extension, not getting more paycheck protection program for small businesses and people that work at small businesses to keep their paychecks flowing and prevent them from losing their jobs. She's hurting millions of Americans by basically saying that she's not okay with $1.3 trillion. Trillion, that's not million, that's not billion, that's trillion with a T. She's not okay with spending $1.3 trillion. I mean, she could just take this 1.3 trillion or negotiate up to maybe 1.5 trillion, a number that's not that far away from 1.3, and pass a deal. Then we can work on these other issues that aren't as urgent. You know, next week, the week after, when the looming government shutdown is coming here in the next 30 days, they can work on some of those other issues over the course of the next couple weeks when there's not as dramatic and life-threatening issues at hand for many millions of Americans during a once-in-a-100-year pandemic. White House Chief of Staff, who's one of the two Republican negotiators, said, "We brought up the number," saying that they went from 1 trillion to 1.3 trillion. "I had a conversation with Nancy Pelosi, and even on her $2.2 trillion counteroffer, she can't tell the American people nor me what is in that number, what's in that $2.2 trillion. Mark Meadows said on NBC's Meet the Press. She's put forth a number, suggests that she came down, and yet she's willing to turn down $1.3 trillion of help that goes to the American people because she would rather them have nothing than give way on what her fantasy might be." He also adds that the $1.3 trillion package would also include money for schools, childcare, hospitals at levels that Nancy Pelosi would agree with. The number marks a big concession on behalf of the White House, which had originally supported a relief package with the price closer to $1 trillion, with some Republicans, dare I even say many Republicans, even discussing a $500 billion plan. That was those skinny plans that we had been hearing a lot about last week. That would not be enough money for a stimulus check. These political games that are mostly being done by Nancy Pelosi is probably the only thing that's holding up a stimulus check and a stimulus package for the American people at this moment. Also, I just want to reiterate to you guys, if you haven't heard me say this in the past or if you're new to the channel, I'm not a Republican, I'm not a Democrat. I like to call myself a realist. I just say things how they are. For months, we were pretty much bashing on the Republicans because the Republicans were the people that were holding up the stimulus package. Okay, it was Mitch McConnell was the villain, and now it's flipped sides. And for months, we were saying that are the Republicans holding up this package so that it can be closer to the election? And here we are closer to the election, and now all the Republicans are saying we need to pass the stimulus package, we need to pass the stimulus check, we need to do it now. So now the only person holding us up is Democrat Nancy Pelosi, the Speaker of the House. And the thing is that there's been a lot of talk on if they can pass the stimulus package without Nancy Pelosi being the negotiator. She's not only getting a lot of criticism from pretty much all Republicans and the White House, but she's also getting a lot of criticism from hundreds of Democratic members in both the House and the Senate who have urged her to pass more unemployment extension and stimulus checks and to get relief out to the people as soon as possible. Now, the interesting part about this is the first stimulus package that was passed, Nancy Pelosi actually played a very minor role in those negotiations between the Democrats and the Republicans and the White House. And Nancy Pelosi barely was even a speaker in those negotiations the first time around. The reason why she's apparently taken on a larger role this time around, basically the number one person who's negotiating, there's only two Democratic negotiators, and Nancy Pelosi is the head one, and Chuck Schumer is basically just following Nancy's lead because she's the Speaker of the House, and the House is controlled by the Democrats. So without the Democrats' vote in the House, they can't pass anything in the House, and a bill needs to pass the House and the Senate to become law. But there's quickly becoming a lot of talk on if they should take Nancy Pelosi out of the negotiations because she wasn't even in the negotiations on the first stimulus package, and they got that passed in a much more timely fashion. And with these words coming out that it's her political agenda to not pass it because then she loses negotiating leverage on some of these other things, and we have hundreds of other Democrats urging her to just pass this stuff and they'll negotiate on that stuff later, we may actually start to see petitions or cries to actually have Nancy Pelosi removed from the negotiator position for the Democrats. First of all, let us know down below, do you want that to happen? Do you think that should happen? And if she was removed from the negotiator position, or maybe slightly removed from it to maybe make it seem like they weren't ousting her, but maybe take her to a much smaller role. Do you think a stimulus package would basically pass right away without her being one of the negotiators? Let us know your thoughts down below in the comments. And if you haven't yet, make sure to click the subscribe button down below and make sure to smash the like button for us down below. Also, it really helps out our channel. And we're also going to be giving or donating $50 to 10 different viewers, $500 total. All you need to do is comment down below your situation, what you would use the money on, and your PayPal address. And we are going to give $50 to 10 different viewers, $500 total. And the people will be picked at random, and we're going to announce the people who get the $50 each within the next few days. So make sure to stay tuned to this channel. And you can click on these videos to watch my newest stimulus check videos next. And this video teaches you how to start a business selling products on Amazon FBA. I have students that have replaced their entire 9-to-5 income, and I teach them how to do that. Click on one of those videos to watch them next. Thanks, and I will see you in the next video.